going on, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Today we are taking a look at the latest offering from Jack Wolf Knives. While we're getting started, let us know down in the comments what your EDC is today. In front of us is the new Primo Jack, the Kieranite Crystal Lake version, and I have to say, this composite material that they're using is some very, very good looking stuff. Never seen anything quite like this here, but definitely something you could get lost in for a little bit. We have some really dark blasted bolsters here. This is based off of a Barlow pattern, and Primo Jack is the cousin to Jack. So keeping it in the family here, so to speak. And then we have a beautiful belt satin S90V clip point blade, and that belt satin looks very, very good. I love that the profile of that tip stays nice and low. It's still going to be very, very useful. That is below the pivot there. So I love clip points. And sometimes they trail a little too high to the point at which the tip is not as useful as it could be. But in a pattern like this and how this profile is done, the blade's canted just a smidge, or it lowers and then swoops back up. That's going to be perfect for certain utility cuts. You have that little bit of belly here running into that nice straight, and we have nothing that's going to interfere here, so we can choke up right behind the edge. That'll give us a ton of control. Sharpening choil looks great. Shouldn't be any complaints there. We are looking at a fuller front flipper combo here. The jimping is right on point there for that front flipper. Nice and grippy. It's not the smaller, finer stuff, but this is cut the right way. So that way, when you are riding up that front flipper, it's going to grip you properly. The fuller is cut out nicely as usual, and thumb flick for righties, you'll be able to do it if you have the talent, but this is going to be more for that reverse flick, no question about it. And then we don't have a complete chamfer of the show side, and that's going to keep everything nice and clean there. What they've done is chamfer out both sides internally, and that gives you the ability to have a clean show side and a clean lock bar as well, and still give you plenty of room to get in there and disengage that lock without thinking about it, right? I don't really care how it's done. I just want to be able to get to it easily and disengage it easily. So however it's done and look the best, I'm for it. And I'm starting to like that companies and designers, they're starting to go this route because it works and it keeps everything looking clean. Let's go ahead and we'll get a size on this fella here. This definitely feels a little bit bigger than some of the other Jack Wolfs I've handled. So we're coming down there all of 7.5 inches overall, 2 7/8 of cutting edge, we'll say, and about 3 1/4 of total blade. Couple of comparison knives here. We have the Benchmade Bug Out up top and the Kaiser Drop Bear on the bottom. And you'll see that Primo here, he's a little bit bigger than both of these other ones. And we'll bring out a couple family members. We have the After Hours Jack, which I've been carrying a ton. And we have the Big Bro Jack slip joint here. And as I thought, the Primo Jack is a little bit bigger, and I'm wondering now if this is the biggest one yet, or if there's one other locking knife that might be about the same size. I'll have to see about that, but this could be the biggest one yet, which if we're waiting for that larger Jack Wolf, this might be the one to check out. I'm waiting for one that's coming in around that 8-inch mark, Ben. Let's get it up there just close. Come on. Close, just a little bit. That's the money man right there, in my opinion, but we're starting to get there right here with the Primo Jack. All you guys out there who enjoy a little bit larger knife, let Ben know down in the comments, that you want at least a close to 8-inch locking Jack Wolf. I mean, that would be just absolute money, in my opinion. So we have a milled clip here. It's going to look extremely clean in the pocket. You'll have a little bit of whichever one you choose poking out of the pocket, just a little tiny bit there, which that gives you plenty of room to grab a hold of this thing, pull it out of the pocket. You're not going to have any struggle of getting it in or out. Good retention on the titanium clip, and can't really ask for a whole lot more. It's going to look nice and clean in there. And you have the option to take this off and put the filler tab in if you wanted to carry this in a slip or drop it down in a pocket. If that's your bag, you have that ability. So that does come with the knife in the can, which we'll check out here in a bit. We'll go ahead and we'll get a weight on this feller. And the thing about these is, even though this is coming in around 7.5, 7.6 inches overall, and we have titanium with a little bit denser onlay here, this knife doesn't feel very heavy. I'm going to say it's right around 3 ounces, 3.1, let's say. Ooh, 2.9, so not too shabby at all on the weight there. For everyone else, that's 82 grams, so not too bad on the weight at all. Blade to handle ratio and weight people, ratio people, weirdos out there, you'll be completely satisfied with this one. We'll go ahead and get a check here on our handle thickness and see what we're looking at. Pretty thin in the hand. Coming in there around 0.46 for this particular model here. I'm guessing they'll all be very, very similar. Blade stock thickness here, we are looking at 117 thousandths there. And we'll pick a random spot on this hollow grind. Woo! Coming down there around 12.5, 13 thousandths in that particular spot. So coming down there pretty thin. We have that hollow ground blade. Let's see how this thing cuts out of the box. And as I've said many times in the past, S90V and a hollow ground blade like this is the ultimate recipe, or one of the ultimate recipes, for a nice long edge life. And even when these knives lose their fine edge, they're still able to cut. You know, they might not cut telephone book paper quite like this, right? But they continue to have a good working edge. I have been testing a Jack Wolf in the S90 for quite some time and just only ever stropped it. And it doesn't have a fine, crazy edge like this one does here. But it still has a great, great working edge. We're actually coming up on a year with that slip joint, and we'll be doing a video about that here very, very soon. There are going to be several different variations of this knife available. I will have shown a picture of it probably, or I am right now. And I believe there's going to be one exclusive. I could be wrong. I want to say there was 6 total versions, and I think 1 or 2 of them were exclusives. There was the black micarta, the gold matter, which is awesome, the rosewood, which is awesome, and then this one. And then I think the other 2 were exclusives, and I don't remember seeing those as far as anything on video. I think I just saw a photo of them. But like I said, I'll flash a photo up on these. But yeah, another really, really solid offering from Jack Wolf. These will come in at the $349.99 price point across all major retailers. I don't think there's any discount codes or anything like that involved with the Jack Wolf, so they will be a straight $349 across the board. And as I said, all major retailers are going to have them. We'll have to see how this one fares, but being 100% honest, the Jack Wolf. Oh, I just had it. The cyborg Jack, right? Or the Bionic. I'm sorry. There's so many. The Bionic is my favorite knife from Jack Wolf so far. This knife, I have carried this. I probably carried this as much, if not more than one singular knife throughout the last, say, year. I carried this knife a ton. I absolutely love it. It has stood the test of time as my favorite Jack Wolf. We'll see how this fella fares. A little bit different style of a clip point and a little bit more my style than this one. I've still made great use of this tip though, no question about it. It kind of boats up a little bit more than the Primo does here. So I really like this clip point blade. And I wasn't going to do this, but I guess I can't help myself. You know, there's some people who understand, and then there's some who don't, and so on and so forth. But and then there's people out there who understand who just, can't afford them or whatever. But to the people who say, it's not worth it or whatever, I don't ever hear, and unless they just aren't aware, right? I don't hear people complain about the same price tag for a Pena knife with very similar materials, and they're the same exact build quality, in my opinion. I mean, so extremely similar, and the material choices across both are going to be very, very similar as well. And you're just going to pay more money for these types of knives. That's just the way that it goes. So, you know, if something's too much for you, then, that's fine. If something's out of your price range, then that's fine. But to say, you know, what something else's worth is when you just don't know a whole lot, right? As to what goes into everything. What makes this one, if this is fine, what makes this not fine, or vice versa. Insert whichever knife. These knives have designers behind them, they have companies behind them, they have retailers behind them, they have other people that work for them behind them. So there's a lot that goes into a singular design, and that's just what they ultimately cost. It's not going to change. And I think the value is 100% there with the Jack Wolf knives, as I believe it is, with Pena knives and other knives in this same class that I have bought. I think the value is there. Otherwise, I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't vouch for them. If you want a high class traditional style knife, then Jack Wolf is going to be a great option to look at. If that's not your style or, your price range, then there's obviously a million fish in this sea. You have to let me know, what do you think of the new Primo Jack? What are your thoughts on the comparison between the Pena and the Jack Wolf? I feel as though maybe these two weren't the best to go, with that. But I feel like build quality, material wise, that they're very, very similar, and they're also very similarly priced. So, my opinions, of course, remember that. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It helps push this video to more people. And if you're new to the channel here and you enjoy this type of content, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe, because I release videos just like this every single day. I will put up a couple of new videos on your screen. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.